It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Good morning, model citizens. Welcome to Humanity Junction. My name is Heath. This is Hangout with Humanity. I'm going to try really hard not to just rant this whole this whole live stream, but it's already been an interesting morning, so we'll see how it goes. But let's while we have the I guess it's on that side, the live streams going alongside of me, let's just take a quick look at who's here. If you've said hello recently, you should pop up on my list. If you haven't said hello recently, come on over and say hello again so that you pop up and I'll be able to say hello to you. I see we've got Steve Childers is joining us. We've got Thomas Splitrock323 is here. Roy Elpham's in the house. Norman Rowe is here. Nisi J, also known as Ding Dong, is in the house. Are we still calling you that? I'm not sure. Is that appropriate? Anyway, we've got John from Mystic Southern Railway. We've got Mr. Jimbo Trains is here. Lynn McCurdy, how's the weather out there? Is it cooling off for you yet? Scott from Hillbilly Railroads in the house. Dwight Curley is joining us as well. We've got Dad Cooks, a.k.a. Eric, is here. D. Klinger Railroad Productions in the house. Bernard C. is here. Rayron VR joining us as well. Andy Estep is here. I saw Norm Miller. Nisi says she just spit her drink out. Who did I just say? Oh, I saw Norman Miller was here earlier, but I don't see him hanging out. Is it Ding Ding? Ding-a-ling? I don't know what's going on. But yeah, people are, Grandpa Rails is peeking in, it looks like. We've got Alan from Mason-Dixon Railroad coming in as well. While the schedule was rolling, I saw some questions about what my schedule was, and I know it's been a little confusing lately with work and with some of the last minute medical stuff I'm trying to get done before I go back to work and before my insurance runs out and all that good stuff. Schedule's been changing, but the goal is, or the plan is, as of right now, is Monday nights at 9:30 should be a pretty consistent thing. That's what I'm hoping to do on the regular is Mondays at 9:30. Fridays, I'm going to try and do as often as I can, but I'm still waiting for the contract, but I'm looking at getting a 3-month project management contract, installing LED displays for some projects in the area. When that happens, I don't know if I will be able to keep the Fridays going or not. I'll have to kind of see what's going on. So yeah, Lynn, please write it down, but write it down somewhere where you're not going to find it. Mr. Ethan, welcome, sir. We all see you. Let's see, Joey, back to work. Yes, so what I've been doing is I've been doing some freelance day work. I am in IATSE Local 1, which is the stagehands union, the people that do all the backstage work for the theater shows and the various stuff in the area. So I've been doing that freelance, just, day to day. Work has been picking up in that realm, so that's been good. But I did have somebody reach out to me about a contract. Definitely 3 months, maybe 6 months. Well, we kind of have to see how the schedule goes. A little bit more on the construction side, installation of LED type displays. Can't get into the details, but NDAs and all that kind of stuff. But that's going to be happening. So what I do want to do, though, and a couple people keep pushing me to do it, is I do want to bring back, I did the Wednesday night technology as a tool, not as an obstacle streams. I would like to bring that back. Yeah, so that's the plan. So we're trying. Norman is, I don't know all the details. I haven't been following it that closely, but my understanding is that there was a Broadway show that did their first show back since the pandemic, just this week. So yeah, I do not. We do have a hall, what they call the hall. If you're out of work, it used to be back in the day. Before all this technology stuff, you would go sit in the hall in the morning. And if people needed somebody on their job, they would call the hall, and the hall would say, okay, you 3 guys go to, XY venue, and you would go down and do that. So didn't technically stand on street corner, but essentially we did. Wigwag Workshop, which I think is Nisi's co-conspirator in the Ding Dong area, has joined us as well. Let's say hello. We got a couple people joining down in the basement, and I'm sure they've got more interesting things to say than I do at the moment. We've got Rayron VR joining us, and we've got Mr. Steve Childers joining us.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
So, should we call you Ray or Ron or Rayron?
I typically go by either Ray or Rayron, whichever works.
Okay. Awesome. And the VR, is that virtual reality, or is that...
No, it's actually my initials of my IRL, so I try to keep some sort of me part of the stream as well.
Awesome. What are you working on there? It looks like a caboose and a boxcar.
Yeah, so I got this Union Pacific caboose here that I bought from the Tehachapi train show, and I'm going to try to get to a little bit more train show quality type of car. Going to be replacing the plastic wheels here with some metal ones. And then just recently, our club had a gentleman who passed away, and he had a whole estate. I was able to buy some of the cars there, so I'm going to be refurbishing this cleaning car here.
Oh, I was going to say, what are those little knobs off the bottom of it? I guess that's to ride on the rails for...
Correct. Yeah, it's very old. Looks like some cleaning pads here. I'm just going to sand it up a little bit and try to get it cleaned up.
Oh, that's really cool. So you were at Tehachapi with Lynn McCurdy.
I was. It's about.
You got any good Lynn McCurdy stories for us?
Well, his beer is definitely epic for sure.
Yeah.
It was a fun time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I hope one day I can start traveling again out west. Hopefully work will pay me to travel out west again. I can start hitting up some of the shows out there. So Lynn says, yes, he was. He obviously remembers you. If I recall correctly, you've got at least 2, maybe 3 videos from that train show on your channel.
I got three right now. I did one more of a slideshow pictures, then I got one that's a video, and then I got one of a haul that I had out there.
Nice. Alan from Mason-Dixon Railroad says he has that same cleaning car.
Awesome.
I actually have not seen that one, but it looks like it makes a lot of sense with where they have those pads going on. So Joey says everywhere in the U.S. is west for me, right? Pretty much, Joey. Pretty much. Yeah, I did see. I haven't watched it, but I saw Martin from Mark Luna Sweden did a video where he compared a bunch of the track cleaning cars, which is kind of interesting. But Steve, did you run away on us, or are you still hiding in the corner somewhere?
I am over here. If you look in your upper left-hand corner, I'm waving.
I like that. Is that your new sort of operatic intro? I thought. I don't think I've heard you sing before.
Was I singing? Huh?
Well, you're kind of saying I'm over here in this sort of sing-songy voice. I mean, it was in all practicalness. You could have broken into song.
I was just installing the lift-out section, and
You gonna run some trains in circles?
yeah, and figure eights and all kinds of different patterns are possible.
So your lift-out section is a complete lift-out, like the whole entire thing comes up and out.
Yep.
It doesn't like hinge up or anything.
No, I got a drop-down section here. Okay, I got a swing around section over there and a lift up section over there, but that back, if I, let's see, do I have a camera I can point that direction? Yeah, I do. Hang on. I'll just change camera so you can see.
So basically, to make your life easy, you decided to do every break in the tracks in a different manner.
Well, yeah, they each have, they're conducive to different methodologies.
Yeah, different door configurations.
Yeah, like here where where the lift out section is, that's a major passageway, so it needed to be wider, and I can't hinge it down because it wouldn't open all the way. It's not tall enough. Okay. And to lift up one way or another is a ceiling fan, so that just didn't work, and a third split in the middle is just problematic.
Lower your mic down a little bit. You're breathing right into it. You're killing us. So Mystic Southern Railway says Steve Childers, your roundhouse area really looks pro. And Joey from Late Night Model Railroad says now he needs a retractable section.
A retractable. Find that.
I don't know. That sounds very complicated. What are you using any method to help align the tracks on the three different sections, or is it just that like how it pins in place they line up really well?
The drop down section is the best. I mean, it's got some dowel rod pins on a slide bar. When those two slide bars go in with 4 pins, 2 pins each, I mean, it lines up the tracks perfectly. The 2 bridge sections, they line up, but I go ahead and put rail joiners on them, across them.
You do? Okay. Yeah.
Just for the heck of it. I'm still working on the alignment here on the lift out. I do have some pins on one end, and the way it's cut on the other end locks it into place, but I still have a little bit of movement and flexibility that I'm working through. And I just did some, I added another pin on this other side over here yesterday, so I got to do some realigning in some of those tracks.
Joey is clarifying. He says like a large drawer slide mechanism.
Oh, I thought about doing one of those, like John did. He's got that lift section.
Oh yeah, that's nice. I like John's. I like the way John did that.
Yeah. The retractable, there's nowhere to retract in here. All right. If you look at the overhead, the one you sent you commented about the picture.
Yep. Yep, with the koi pond in the background.
Yeah, if you look at that, space is at a premium in here, and every bit of it's used. There is no spot for retractability.
Yeah, that was actually a really good angle to really get a sense of. I am getting a call from France right now. Wonder who's calling me from France. That overhead shot really gives you a sense of,
Scale.
just how little open space there is in that room.
Yeah.
You really have kind of, used every inch of it, which I'm a big fan of. I've done something similar in my space as well, so I completely understand it. And I just realized, hey Ziggy, turn on back wall. And of course I gotta change it. Hey Ziggy, turn on back wall. There we go. Hey Ziggy, turn on ceiling. Yeah, Lynn, I'm sure that was a call telling me that my car insurance is worn out and I need to get my car insurance going again. But while we're saying hello, let's just take a real quick look. The health update that we got going on. If you go to health.humancity.org, it'll take you to this little page right here. We have 2 people in the health challenge that have crossed the 10% mark as far as weight loss.
That would be me.
That would not be you, Steve?
No.
So I'm not going to call you out exactly, but there are 2 people that have not given me any updates since the start of this.
Update.
When?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, did you? I may have missed
and
it.
you said no. You even replied and said I'm going to have to update it because I didn't know what my number was, and you replied with the number and saying, "Okay, you got to update." And I sent you the picture.
Oh, I totally forgot about it then. I lost it.
I'll send it if you want.
In my defense, I think that was when I was out standing in the rain. So
It could have been.
it could have been. But yeah, I need to update myself. I was gonna update myself the morning after I did the prep for the colonoscopy, but I thought that wouldn't be fair. So stuck with what it is. But yeah, I mean, there's 2 people 10%. There's another person that's at 9%. Another person at 6.8%. So actually 2 people at 6.8%. So there's some people losing some real weight, which is kind of fun. It's kind of fun. If you still want to join, feel free to jump in. It's. Can you guys hear that?
Yes. Thump, 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 thump. You want me to mute you?
Oh my god.
No, I'm muted.
No, it's me, Rayron. There's
Construction workers.
it's the construction
Oh,
noise.
no.
They're just you're gonna get me started on a rant. The health challenge is just about having fun. Come join the challenge. Oh my god. I'm just it's just alright, while I'm frustrated.
Well, we do need our rant for the week.
Oh, did Tom not do his rant on Monday?
I think he was having some streaming issues, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he ranted about Comcast.
That's what it was, Comcast. Yep, you're right.
Oh, okay. Good. Good. Yeah, Lynn, at this point I wish it was termites. They wouldn't be so loud and annoying. Yeah, Joey says as long as it's not the sound of your G scale rail cars dropping off the rails. I could not agree with you more. Before we get to the rant, because let's take a minute. Let's thank the members. So I'll talk about this a little bit more in the rant, but I do have a lot of plans. I do want to get a lot of stuff off the ground. I know there's a couple things that I keep saying I'm going to do that I haven't done yet, but they are coming. The Technology as a Tool series is coming. It's going to be more work on this layout behind me that I know hasn't. This layout hasn't gone anywhere. I know there's going to be more work on it soon. So I really appreciate the people that have given super stickers, that have become members of the channel, either through Patreon or through what's that other one called, or through YouTube. And I do have 3 channel sponsors. The channel sponsors have really been great supporting the channel. I've got some of PGH Train Fanatic background flats there. I've got these modules all came from CMR products. My Digitrax throttles and stuff all come from Iron Planet Hobbies. So these guys have been big supporters of the channel and really helped me grow as well. So consider supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. Looks like we got a couple people out there. Mr. Jason the Train Freak saying rant, rant, rant. Roy Eltham agreeing, saying yes, rant, many rants. And Lynn McCurdy looking for more rants. I guess that's all the encouragement I need. People seem to like the rant, so I guess we'll get into it.
And they're more like life lessons.
I guess somewhat. So where things are frustrating to me. So for a living, what I do is Dwight Curley also supporting the rant as well. So for a living, what I basically do is project management stuff, and I also do a lot of like theater stuff and whatnot. Just as a technician, but as a technical person as well. So I'm a fairly technical based project manager. So when I approach projects, I tend to have a very technical view of them, in that like how I approach them, the process, the scope of work, and everything. Generally, I focus on like how things get put together and the order that things need to kind of happen in order for the project to be successful. And things like when stuff shipping and the finances of a project and all of that kind of stuff is were people asking what Rayron was doing? I missed it.
Yeah, I was just spinning the the wheel here to make sure that the oil gets evenly distributed, and checking the truck too. I thought I had a bad truck.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know it helps sometimes to drop a little oil on the spot where that pin touches the sort of that little socket. So yeah. So my view on things is a very sort of like organized approach, I guess. So when I'm not in charge and I see things going awry, it just gets very frustrating. Lynn McCurdy's mentioning dry graphite. I've heard people use graphite pencils to when they're doing operations to lock and unlock your cars. And you know what, Scott? I think you're right. I think I need to update that. I apologize. Something's majorly wrong. Scott, you're right. I need to add you to that. I forgot to do that. I will do that. But the dry graphite on the...
Those construction workers.
I was gonna say, is it me or we lose Heath?
No, he's muted because of all the background noise.
I don't know if you can hear. I don't know if you could hear the background noise, but it sounds like they're about to come through the wall.
Oh, don't worry about it. Everybody will just assume it's me anyway.
That's true. That's true. Lynn says, I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Yeah, Scott, I am a winner. That's for sure. I should have hit the... No, that's not my dog hitting the wall. So this kind of stuff, like, it's just frustrating. And I get that schedules need to be adjusted and things need to be changed, but I took Wednesday, like, I scheduled things Wednesday to be here all day so that, like, I can make sure that they had access to what they needed to in the space. I knew Dustin's stuff was going to get kicked up, but it's all just kind of a part of it. Like, I knew it was going to happen, but so it's here all day Wednesday, and they did. They installed the door, which was great. But there's a gap above the door where they need to, like, plaster it. And then along the bottom, they need to just fix the floorboards, along the bottom. So, being as this space has a tenant in it, they've been asked repeatedly to focus on finishing this space because there's a tenant in it. Scott.
Hey, John.
So, like, the people managing the project think that they're focusing on finishing this stuff. But the people managing this project are never here. They never come to site. So they don't know that they're not. So the door's got the wrong lock installed because it was cut for the wrong kind of lock. There's a lock called a mortise and deadbolt. And it's kind of like a 1930s lock. Like, if you're in a building from the 1930s, it's likely the lock that's on your door. So it's very specific to this age of building. So they wanted that kind of lock. They didn't cut this door for that lock. There's a hallway door that never gets locked that they cut for that style of lock. So here I am emailing them saying, like, just FYI, the door's cut wrong. And it's like, why am I the guy on site managing this project? Because they're not here. So the wrong door handle's cut on the door, and it's a metal fire door. So modifying the metal fire door is not like a simple task. It's a custom-made door, right? Like, the door was literally custom-made, and it was built wrong. They didn't plaster the top. They didn't plaster the floor. They're out there now installing downlights, which they've, like, repaired the ceiling like 16 times already, and now they're knocking holes in the ceiling again. And then the other thing that's frustrating is, luckily, there's no tenant next door. So far, there hasn't been any issue because they're just doing construction. But, like, all of the outlets are on the same circuit. And I very specifically asked, when all of this started and when I was signing the contract for this space, I said, I want to make sure that I've got a circuit that's dedicated to this space. And, basically I was assured that they'll check it, and if there's a problem, they'll rerun stuff. Well, I've checked it because I have the tools to check it, and all of the outlets are on the same circuit. Like, all of them. Like, there's like 15, 20 outlets on the same circuit. But, so it's going to be a problem. When there's a tenant in the next space, there's a good chance that I'll be doing a stream at some point, and the power will go out. So that's my rant for the day, I guess. And I'm just in a bad mood because of all of the dental work I had yesterday. I had 2 crowns done yesterday, and this side of my face is just in a bunch of pain. So, yeah. So it sounds like the highway department paving the road and then replacing the culverts. Exactly. It's like, it was like the pavers were the first guys on site, so they just repaved it, and they didn't wait whoever was project managing the job didn't plan it out to do the first things first. So Dwight was in a bad mood yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was one of those days. Dad Cook says, have a standby generator out your window. I do actually have two UPS battery backups. One of them is under the desk, and it's got most of like the computer stuff plugged into it. And then one of them is over on this side, which does have the train stuff plugged into it. One thing I have not finished doing yet is all of the wire management. So it's not all like wired up the way I want it, but yeah. Barry, what's called New York City craftsmanship? The knocking? So Jason wants to know about how lucky I was last night or how I rigged the system. I'm going to argue that I didn't rig the system. I'm guessing it was just sort of fun. So I have absolutely nothing to give away right now, but just for the fun of give away. So just for the fun of showing what happened last night. Let's go back here. Let's share this. So StreamYard has a giveaway tool. And that giveaway tool looks a bit like this. And what you do is you come over here and you put like match text. So I'm going to put in blame Heath. And then I'm going to click on the start collecting names. So now, and I don't know how to know when people enter, but if people start typing in blame Heath in the chat, what's going to happen is the entries number will go up. So Split Rock 323 did a giveaway last night because he just crossed 2,000 subscribers, and he used this tool at my suggestion. So at my suggestion, he used the tool. So as people started typing in blame Heath or whatever, the entries started popping up. So for whatever reason, I ended up winning the very first draw. And I'm going to let it go a little bit longer because the reason I was entering is I was really entering for the fun of it, because when you hit the draw button, the names like flash through. So it's like it's fun to like see your name flash through. So I knew, even though I entered, that you could only win once, right? I mean, like that's, I knew that, like no big deal. But I just kept entering. Nisi, it's not bingo. It's blame Heath. Close, but so I just kept entering because I thought it would be fun to keep entering. Well, what happened is I kept entering and I kept winning.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
So because I recommended the giveaway tool, people thought, oh, I must have programmed it and rigged it. But I didn't, but it didn't happen. So the UPSs are at about like 10% load right now. And theoretically, we keep things going for about 35 minutes. So as long as I make sure, and I think one of my network switches is not on the UPS right now. So I think that's my my one problem. But my the fiber modem thing and my router, I think, are on it, and I think the network switch is not on it. But theoretically, it would run for about 30 minutes if power did go off. So, yeah. And that's what I kept saying, too. It's like people are really overestimating my intelligence if people think that I could rig it. But I'm going to hit...
Well, if
so
you're
we've
only
got...
supposed Well, it begs the question: if you can only win once, how did you keep winning?
Well, what I mean by I could only win once is that the giveaway tool is not programmed to only let somebody win once, but the contest that he was running would be set up so that somebody
Oh,
can only win once. But my thought was to get some New York City pigeons and rats in N scale. As I explained, though, a New York City rat in N scale is actually the HO scale rat from Mini Prince. So, John is asking you, Rayron, what kind of brush it is. It looks like just a cleanup brush for welding is what I used to use those for.
Yeah, I don't know the exact name of this brush, but I know this brush right here is used for card decaling to clean out like the vents and so forth. This one has a more thicker brush thing to it, so I'm not exactly sure the name of it.
Is it metal or is it just soft?
So it's soft. So the metal one, this guy right here.
Yeah,
but this is the more softer version of it. You can probably find it at your local hobby store.
yeah, I got a metal one like that, but
yeah, that's what I thought. It was the metal kind, which I used to use to like get into a if you were doing a fillet weld to get into the the bottom of that fillet to clean it out. Yes, that would be funny to do the to have the N scale and or HO scale pizza. Ethan, I think, wants me to go on another walk. Let's hit it. So there's no contest, but I just think it's fun. So let's just watch everyone that entered. We can watch your names kind of scroll through. See, so I kept entering because I kept wanting to see it scroll through like that. So you know what was interesting though?
so it allows you to enter as many times as you want, apparently. If your name keeps showing up.
Oh, it goes around. It'll only let you enter once, but then it's like a wheel spinning. So you see the names going around and around and around. But yeah, so as Jason points out, I was not only the first winner, but overall I won 3 times. So, oh yeah, Ninja Turtles. That would be fun to do a under New York City scene and do some Ninja Turtle wigwag. Figures I win when there are no prizes. That's too funny. Sorry. Yeah, actually, you just won the train collection. No, not exactly. Let's
do it again for the wall on the right. That's all the HO stuff.
Bro, yeah. Do one scale at a time. We'll go through it all. So one thing I do want to open up though is I've got a box sitting behind me. I don't completely understand the whole story of these pictures. One of my sister's sons got the pictures from a neighbor or something that was into trains. And I don't know anything about them, but my sister was getting rid of them, and she said, "Do you want them?" And I said, "Sure, like I'll check them out." And then I got them, and I was looking at the pictures, and I was kind of like, I wonder if these are actually like valuable or something. That'd be another good one. A Pennywise clown with a red balloon in the sewer. A modeler in a Facebook I belong to, Facebook group, is doing a Ninja Turtle build. That's really cool. Hi says he tried to enter Split Rock's contest this morning, but the live stream had already ended. Yeah, that doesn't work. But so I've got these pictures, and I want to show these because I'm kind of curious if anybody might know like who the artist might be, or if it's even like a famous artist. I don't even know. The original thought of having them sent to me is I was like, I'll use them for giveaways. So I don't know if you can hear that noise, but anyway.
Yeah, but it's okay.
So my original thought was I would give them away. Make it stop! So I was thinking I would do them as giveaways, and fun. So Tim, there is actually 5/8 inch sheetrock on this side and 2 pieces of 5/8 inch sheetrock on the other side. So there's actually a decent amount of sheetrock. Ethan says, "Please do not get upset today." It's not upset. It's just frustration.
Yeah, but sheetrock's not a good sound insulator.
It's the air gap between the sheetrock that's generally pretty good, but 2 sheets of 5/8, it's decent. My understanding is, I believe some of the sheets are not Durock. What is the drywall called that is the sound resistant drywall? I forget what it's called now. But they got
sound gap acts more like a speaker baffle than an insulator. Insulation in the wall.
There's specific drywall that you use and specific. Ethan says, "Calm down." There's specific drywall and specific. There's stuff called rock wool, which is insulation that you put between walls that is a good sound insulator. So the wall behind me, which is the wall that goes to the next office, is better sound insulated than the wall that goes to the hallway. But technically, there shouldn't be a lot of people in the hallway anyway. And the Kool-Aid Man will likely not be able to smash through the wall. But thanks for subscribing. Is it D or die? I can't remember. I know Thomas said it like 16 times last night, but I don't remember how he pronounced it. Don't worry about those guys. Yeah. Ethan says, "Please get headphones." I'm wearing headphones. I don't know if you can see. I got my one ear in. My headphones are how I can hear Steve when he talks to me. Okay, so let's look at these pictures. Maybe there'll be an artist's name on them or something. Yeah, I don't see any artist name. But I thought these might make good like giveaways or something for prizes.
Oh yeah, they can go in anybody's training room.
It's even framed and everything.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Split Rock says Diana, as in Lady Di. Gotcha. So it's Di. There you go. Yeah. So this one's pretty cool, right? It's what is it? A 448?
Sure it's 440.
Is that would that be called a 448 or a 224?
440.
440? Oh, you don't count what's on the tender?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
440.
Which is Civil War and shortly after. Like the two at Promontory Point were both 440s.
So this is a Cape Cod Central Railroad 1867.
See? Civil War post or shortly after.
Yeah. So I thought, unfortunately, I don't really have, wall space in this room. But I thought these Wigwag you did. Wigwag won our gratitude. Wigwag says check inside the back for hidden money stash. These do. So why we think there could be some value to these is these do look like they were framed a long time ago. And it's hard to see if it's a print or like what it really is. So I guess I was curious if people like recognize these at all to know like Dad Cook says take it out of the picture frame and check the back. Yeah, like this type of picture frame though, you'd have to rip the paper to get it out.
That's had some effort. It's framing.
Right. Well, this is the old style of framing. This isn't like a new. Some people are saying open the back, and Norman's saying don't open the back. I think it is a print. I don't think it's a. But it was, it's nicely matted in a decent frame and everything. Yeah, it's professional, old school framing. It's not. I now hear him like sweeping, and I see stuff coming. Anyway,
About time for
yeah,
their
it's
lunch.
nicely matted. So here's another one. Same basic style of frame and everything as this other one. Uh, this one, the back paper is not in as good of shape.
It's not a Stevenson. Is that a Lafayette?
It smells a little musty.
Yeah, that reminds me of the small Bachman ones they came out with way back when.
But yeah, it's kind of, it's a neat. Yeah, I think it's just. I do think they are prints.
Numbers or
There does seem to be a little bit of like a weathering. I don't know. If I knew somebody at like the Met Museum or something, maybe I could give it to him and he could take it to work with him. And maybe somebody over at the Met Museum would know what they are. I don't know that the Met Museum would have any idea what these are because these are probably, David says, "Do not open it. Get it appraised." Yeah, I wouldn't know where to get this kind of thing appraised. They are, I'm sure, not worth appraising. See, it's like, how do you know though? Like, I don't know how you know. So this one, again, the same frame.
If you don't see a print number, but the number of how many, and you don't see a signature, odds are they're
Yeah.
not worth anything.
Yeah, there's no
Other
print
than
number.
being- other
There's
than
no
being
signature. So
Yeah, the first rule of art is you gotta have a signature.
here's another 440. This one says Atlantic and Great Western Railroad, 1862. So Norman, they came from a neighbor, I believe, of my sister's. Gave them to one of my sister's kids.
They're just taking up space. You can send them to me.
Well, my thought would be is to just do a giveaway of them. On one of my live streams. So
The framing's worth more than the prints.
here we go. Mike, they're all prints, especially if the frame is worth more than the prints. Yeah, there you go. Split Rock's saying, I think are you saying this is this one's the Civil War wood burner?
No, that's the other one. The 440s are Civil War wood burners.
Oh, the 440s are. Yeah, these
The,
so
the
these two
other
are
one
the
is like 1820 or 1830.
so
Early.
these are similar but different. Like the smokestacks are different.
Yeah.
The wedge on the front's different and everything.
Both wood burners, they got different cow counts.
This one's 1862 and this one's 1867.
Still both 440.
Yeah, but both 440s. So yeah, so maybe I don't know that I'll do it Monday. I don't know what I'm gonna do Monday. Maybe I'll do it Monday, maybe I'll do it another time, but if people think they're worth doing as giveaways, I'll do them as,
Yes.
I guess the question would be is should I do it as a giveaway and give away? Mr. Jimbo Train says those frames need to be redone and have new paper backing installed. Yeah, it does kind of seem like it probably would not hurt to reframe them. So Norm Miller is suggesting that I give one to my girlfriend's dad. I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
Why is he in the trains?
He doesn't have a layout, but he's into I think he likes the rail fanning part of it more than the model part of it. But he did come to Amherst with me. He was in town and we drove up to Amherst. Yeah, the wedge is a cow catcher. Yes, it is.
Lauren, does he like?
The Cape Cod one is Civil War era, but the war never got that far north. Oh, interesting. So it's probably a fictional. It's probably fictional. It's
Oh,
probably not even real. So the question would be, I guess, for everybody is, if I gave them away, should I give them away to three different people, splitting up the set, or do I give them away to, like all as one?
dude, split
Prize
up.
giveaway: winner gets one print, second place is two prints. How does that work?
Yeah, I understand.
I would win all three anyway, but it's not fictional. The North was better supplied with railroad. Oh, gotcha. So Wigwag thinks is a set, but Rare Artist is saying to three different people. Norman says shipping will be fun. Ethan says yes, please.
Shipping is going to be expensive.
No, I'm sure it was a real railroad, just not a Civil War engine. Gotcha. So David says that's a set, but Dwight Curley says I would take one.
Yeah,
So
I would see if the prints all by the same person, because if it's a set, then it could be worth a little bit more. But it depends on the intent. Something I would think about doing too is give one to normal audience, give one to your Patreon members or your memberships, and just spread the wealth that way too.
yeah, my one reason to keep them together is they do look like the prints all look to be of the same like style and everything. So I think oh there we go. Tim says the Cape Cod Railroad was real. Oh, Split Rock, kind of like New York Jets tickets. Prize winner gets 2, loser gets 10. Yeah, they kind of feel like a bit of a set to me, right? Like it's the the style of them is all the same, even the one that's different.
Then the collector side of me says keep it together, but that's bias.
Well, and that's a little bit the collector side of me is thinking that as well. I guess the other option is to not give them away and just like hang them like on the ceiling or something, but that sounds a little bit ridiculous. Train Freak says research them before you give them away. Yeah, I guess what I should at least do, right, is search, Cape Cod Central Railroad 1867 and search for this image and see if it comes up or not. But hey, Randall, if you want to come up, turn on your camera. Or something's not working. Ethan says he'll take the third one. If the engine ran during the Civil War, it was in war service and therefore a Civil War engine. May not have been in battle sites, but they moved supplies destined for the front lines. Andy, I agree. What is a collector? I only know hoarders. Exactly. Let's see. David says if you split them up, someone in the future will spend an entire lifetime trying to get them back together. So funny enough, right, is like all this microtrain stuff, like if I wanted to sell it, I could probably sell it more as selling the entire circus set at once than I would if I parted it out and sold one at a time. Yes, collectors are more organized. I would definitely say that's probably the difference between a hoarder and a collector. Norris is just attach them to the G scale and they can go around the room. That'd be kind of funny. But yeah, I'm gonna check them out a little bit more. Doesn't sound like anybody here is like familiar with them, has seen them before. It doesn't work. I can talk, you just won't be able to see me. Randall, is that really you?
Yeah, it's really me, Heath.
How's things going?
Going pretty good. Just coming in from splitting wood.
Splitting wood.
Yeah, I cheat though. I have my brother built a log splitter, so that helps a lot.
Have you done any runs to the train stations lately?
Went to Memphis last night. It got pretty darn busy when I was coming back. I actually saw 5 trains last night, and there was at least 2 or 3 more that I couldn't see because I could hear him hit the detector and set it off. So
Yep. Norman saying take photos, do online research. Yeah, I should probably just take pictures of them. And on Reddit, there's this there's different groups on Reddit, and like there are people out there that know some of the craziest information. So maybe somebody will know what they are. So question, Heath: if Steve is muted most of the time, making too much noise most of the time, and off screen the rest of the time, why is he on the show? Oh, that's too funny. I'm becoming a Collier Brothers level collector. I don't know the Collier Brothers. Who are the Collier Brothers? But Steve, so to answer the question, the reason, because people are small on the side, so Steve contributes. He was showing us all of his different things, the way his anyway. So what my on Monday night I did a why don't I see if I can bring it up, because I know I confused a lot of people. It was totally a great clickbait title, and I really thought that I was going to be able to get a stream in between running to the bathroom. Yes, Steve is brave enough to come show off his nice layout. That is true. So I thought I was going to be able to get a stream in, and it just turned out I couldn't. But I used this really clickbaity title. I said, I cannot do this anymore. So when I did that, and then I didn't show up, I got a bunch of people texting me and stuff. So Andy says they were famous hoarders in Harlem in the turn of the 20th century. One was buried by his newspaper collection. Oh, that's awful. My neighbor, when I first moved into this building, my neighbor was a hoarder. Different apartment than I live now. But he had so much newspaper in his apartment as well, which I think's kind of thing. So it was clickbait, right? I cannot do this anymore. What it meant... Yeah, Lynn says, Lynn was concerned. He messaged me. Ethan says he'll show his layout. Ethan, the link keeps going by. You just have to click on it. It was my first time with the procedure. I tend to have somewhat of a sensitive stomach at times, and I think doing the entire prep of all the laxative, and Mike Rail Artist is saying, well, in all honesty, you did get a stream in, just not the kind we were expecting. Technically, you do get a stream in. Alan is also making a similar joke. So I thought I'd be able to get down here and do it, and I just couldn't. So I can't do this anymore with the picture of the layout. What it was really about is, and I think you can see it a little better in the overhead shot here. Oh, kind of. You can't see it real great, but maybe let's see. Can you see this shot? You can see it a little bit. So this is like right behind me. I mean, yes, I can move. Like my stomach's up against the desk right now, right? And the layout's like, I can touch it right here. So there is room. David says he wasn't worried. He just thought, okay, it frees up some time. Steve says it doesn't matter if I left. They're still going to blame me for things anyway. You don't have to do it that way. They have a home one you can do. Well, that's what I did. It was just Miralax, which was the home prep. But anyway, it's just so close. The only chairs that I can fit in here right now and still be able to walk around them are these Robert Johnson Flying Crow style chairs. And they're just not comfortable to sit in. I think we're getting into another bit of a rant a little bit. So with all the construction going on, with only being able to fit folding chairs in here, with yeah, I was wondering a little bit if that's what he was talking about as well, a home colonoscopy kit. I don't know if I'd want to give myself a colonoscopy.
That's painful.
So Andrew was here when I first moved this stuff in, or Andy was here, and so these are the chairs I've had. These are still the chairs that I use when I sit at my desk. This is the chair I have. I can't get my office chair in here because I don't have enough space. I was just the reason that the layout is a square and not, hold on. I can do this better. I can do this. I can do it. That was awkward. Let's see. Entertainment, man cave, space layouts. Oh. Share. So I laid all this out, right? I knew the situation I was going to be in. I knew, yeah, and so Damien was here as well. And it was tight with the two of them. And, you can kind of see with this in here. And so it's actually turned 90 from this version on the left, right? So I have a little bit more room between the desk and the back, but it's wider out this way. And I could get the office chair in here, I just couldn't walk around it then. Yeah, we designed it like this. Exactly. Mark says the luxury of chairs, I have to sit on a folding step stool.
Well, Heath, I'm going to tell you something. Even with all that in your room there, it's still a whole lot cleaner than where my train layout is.
I know, and that's why it's hard to complain. Like I do feel a little bit guilty ranting about this. But the reality is that if I just spent the money on the wood and I made a table that was 30 or 32 inches deep, which would come here, let me remove this really quick. So 32 inches deep would come to here. Come to here where my hand is. Right? 32. And then width-wise, it would be 67. 67 inches, which is right here. And the reality is, I don't use this opening very often. And if this was at 32 inches, I could still reach over it to get to the shelves. Whereas now, I can't reach over it to get to any of those shelves.
Plus, even if you needed the ladder, you could open up the ladder.
Basically, if I did the version on the right, it would just give me so much more room. Yeah, this is 100% a first world rant. 100%.
Now, is there any reason you wouldn't go the whole back wall? Add some more modules?
So a couple reasons. Maybe a couple reasons. One reason is that the Z-scale layout is right here. Yes, I could just have the one layout go under the other layout. The other reason is I've got all of these storage drawers down here.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if I turn the lights on. I've got all these storage drawers down here. And these are all kind of my tools and supplies and stuff. Which I could ultimately just build the desk height so that it was tall enough to go over all these, right? So I could just build it along the back wall. Here's the main reason. Right hand rules. Yeah, Andy's layout is on top of his bookcase. So figure like a full height bookcase. And then his on the top. So the reason I don't I don't think I would do the whole wall. Like the real one, I guess, at the end of the day, is that to me, this is kind of my chainsaw layout. This is the layout that I'm going to learn on. I'm going to learn the modeling. I'm going to learn the electronics. I'm going to learn the DCC. I'm going to, learn a lot of, the one on the right is the one that I want to get to eventually. There are other things that I wanted to spend the money on, instead of wood to make the table. So the problem is it just doesn't work. So I don't want to buy more modules because what I want to do eventually, so a chainsaw layout is a layout that you're building that you're basically going to tear apart. My goal, one of two things are going to happen. In 2 or 3 years, I'm either going to move out of this space and we'll move somewhere and I'll have a bigger layout, or the other thing that's going to happen is so I'm getting the picture. Get ready, it's coming. Is this. In 2 or 3 years, if I'm still in this space and it looks like I'm going to be in this space for a while, I want to do something like that.
Where's your desk go?
The desk would likely be probably still in this corner. It would just be probably under the layout at like sitting height. So the layout would be at like standing height and the desk would be at like sitting height. So the goal is, although the right provides more space, my OCD doesn't like the angles. I know. So it's like I don't want to build the frame for the T-Track and spend the money on that because, yeah, I know. It would not look like this at all. This is just me screwing around to see how much track I could get into places. I know. But the goal would eventually be to do like a bigger thing in here. And it would fit, right? I mean, it would, it would ultimately, I could do something all around here and then either have the layout higher or the thing. So the stream desk would be built into the layout, right? So like instead of having like an empty desk space like I have now, I would have the tracks would just kind of run across it or something like that. So I made up this. So this cut list, if you can see it, you probably can't see it. This cut list is one 4x8 sheet of plywood to make up the rest of the shelves that I need to fill out here's a one. Yes, $10 would get me about a square foot piece of Asian plywood. That is true. So this would get me the rest of the shelves. What this would give me is, I don't think we can see it from this view or not.
Like this, Heath?
So this would give me 2 more 8-foot shelves over there, 2 more 8-foot shelves over there, and then on this side it would give me to my side, it would give me 2 shelves below and 2 shelves above. That's what this piece of paper would give me. And what that would allow me to do would be to move some of the stuff up a little bit, which would allow me to keep the door closed at all times and just cut out a 2-foot square Heath doggy door at the bottom of the door. That would be so funny. Norman, I would love to hire Peter Lloyd Lee, and that's a little bit to my plan would be to I would love to hire him to do this. I would love to find a way that maybe we could work out a collaboration or something to make it happen. But yeah. So what I was gonna do is get a more accurate measurement of what size table that I need, and then the problem is for me to buy this and have this cut is not very expensive in New York City. What's expensive is an 8-foot piece of wood. I've got to have I basically have to have them deliver it because I don't have a truck to pick up an 8-foot piece of wood. And that's what costs the money. The delivery costs the money. So if I'm going to get something delivered, I might as well just get a bunch of other stuff. So what I'm thinking of doing is just getting two options. One is get another piece of MDF and like make an actual bench, like a bench top, cut the MDF and make like little legs and everything. The other option is to just make a frame out of 1x3s because the modules basically have their own structure. So the only thing that I need to support on the modules would be where the adjustment screws are. So if I measure this out really well and then go buy a bunch of 1x3, I could then build a frame that the modules would sit on that would allow me to then get underneath the modules. Uber drivers have SUVs. I haven't seen an Uber driver with a truck. Wow, that is organized. Those are all your Katie couplers and stuff. Look at that.
Yeah, I got these at Harbor Freight. They got these little like screw organizers, but I use them for like couplers. I got screws here or trucks, so whatever I need, I got it right here. So kind of kept bashing a little bit.
Hey Ethan, don't post your full address in the chat. We don't want people. We don't want random people coming and bothering you. SUVs can fit lumber. Can it fit an 8-foot piece of lumber? That's what I'm not sure about. I know MDF is horrible and heavy. The MDF that I got for all of this, the reason I got the MDF is it was like $56 for a sheet of 3/4 inch MDF, and it was like $110 for a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. So that's why all these shelves are MDF. This is also a type of MDF that's called ultralight or something like that. So it's not nearly as heavy. Funny you should say that, Steve. The one plan with this was to just do it all in 4-footers and then just throw them all in the back of a car. The man with van people would probably charge me $60, and the delivery from the lumberyard $60. So, yeah, it would stick out the back in an SUV. Mr. McCarville, did you change your? I didn't recognize your logo, Mr. McCarville. It looks different.
It does.
Royce sings Sanda. Let's see. 1/2-inch 8x4 sheets is $44 at Home Depot locally. Maybe it's come down a lot. Maybe maybe my next set of shelves will be some 7-ply birch plywood or something like that. One reason I didn't want to do them in 2 4-foot pieces is that on this side in particular, there's a 4-foot span that doesn't have a standard. So I would have to buy some more standards. So people are saying, so that's what I'm going to do with Nancy is build 2x4 boxes of transport easy access. Yeah. Lumber has come down 75% since May. Wow. It was $75 for that same plywood 3 weeks ago. Yeah, no, I'm not buying the wood at Home Depot. I have there's a bunch of lumber places here in the city that are like true, like actual like lumber places.
For commercial, specializing in commercial.
So yeah, so my thought is, so I'm thinking I'm gonna build a frame table, so no tabletop. Oh wait, now Michael McCarville's got a different logo.
Now he's
I'm
back
so
to the old-
confused. So is this Michael McCarville the same Michael McCarville? Is this Michael McCarville, or are there actually two Michael McCarvilles in the chat right now?
My head hurts
I'm
now.
so confused. I know. Yeah, Andy, I went to all of this wood in here so far came from Metropolitan Lumber. Is where I got it from. So
I
Michael
was going
says
to
I have
say,
more than one account.
I
Sorry,
was just
Randall.
going to say, yeah, I was just going to say, you did see see the videos on the club layout, didn't you, Heath? How it was built.
I didn't
They
see. I
to
don't know
the
that I saw how the frame was built, but I did see the club
layout.
layouts.
It's actually built in modules. Each member, uh, you the membership dues when you join the club goes to building a module if you so desire to have one. And that basically allows the club to switch out modules, lengthen and shorten the layout.
Yeah, and that's why like I love this modular thing with these T-track modules. It's more just that like T-track modules don't come with legs, right? It's one of the modular ones that doesn't come that way. So basically what I'm building are just the legs for the modules. And if I just do it as a 1x3 frame, I can kind of adjust the top as needed so that um so that all the little feet line up where the feet need to line up. So I basically just need
Yeah.
to I need to figure out how many 1x3s I need and basically just go buy them. And Jerry Sattarelli
Yeah.
was telling me to get what is it called, finger jointed 1x3s or something like that because they're straighter. Like a typical pine 1x3's got that like bend to it, whereas there are 1x3s designed for furniture making. I think it's something finger jointed.
They're
Is
jointed.
that right?
Instead of one long piece of wood, it's a bunch of shorter pieces that are jointed together.
There you go. That sounds right.
Well,
Yep.
yeah. See, when I officially joined the club back in 2019, I could have went the route of having a module built, but I literally had nowhere to keep the module if I went that route. So,
And
I
that's why
basically
I went with T-Track instead of N-Track, because the N-Track modules were so much bigger that I couldn't fit an N-Track module. Yeah, Thomas says the bend we call the Menard straight edge. There you go. David says he's got a choice right now: breakfast or Heath streams. Stream decisions. See ya. Yeah, exactly.
and
I
have
won't be
heard,
doing hardwood. It definitely won't be hardwood. It'll probably just be finger jointed pine.
I was just going to say right quick, Heath. I have heard. Now this is not official. I have heard that they're going to try to have an N scale layout this year. That is not official. That's just some rumblings that's been going around. So
I think DIY and Digital did a video recently about, will N scale take over HO and all that kind of stuff.
Three
I don't
reasons
think.
it will and the 3 reasons it won't.
Yeah, I think that N scale. I think more people. The quality of N scale has improved to the point that I think more people will get into model railroading because they don't need a basement to have a layout. Like when people will set up HO scale trains, they often don't set them up in like the corner of their living room. Whereas whereas the with N scale you could do a little layout in the corner, or you could do a little coffee table layout or something.
I would
So-
even add a few things to that when it comes to HO and N scale is entry level cost to get into the hobby. We look at Bachman for HO, but when we look at N scale, Cato has been doing so much more for entry level hobbyists. It makes it much more doable, and you can expand a lot more upon that. So it's definitely interesting to see.
Yeah. I don't know that N scale will ever overtake HO scale because I do think that there's a lot of market for it. But you go to Japan, and Japan's definitely all N scale, right? So, I do think it's coming. I do think it's coming. But I feel like now that David left, that I should start wrapping up this this stream as well. James from Boulder Creek says, I think I'm going to abandon my basement layout eventually and put in a train shed. I would love, so what I want, my train shed goal, I want to buy a Pullman passenger car. And I want that to be like the entrance to my train shed. And then I'll just keep like expanding off the back of it as I build a bigger and bigger train shed.
You just want the end of the Pullman car, not the whole Pullman car?
No. I want the whole Pullman car, like so you don't walk in the end of the Pullman car. You'll walk into the, you'll walk up the stairs to the Pullman car with the, the thing. So the main entrance to the train shed will be the face of the Pullman car. So I figure I can start by just hanging it out the window.
Get a heavyweight observation where you walk up the steps to the platform in the back and then go down the center with the layout on both sides.
Or I could get a, well, I mean, they do have Pullman observation cars, which just have the little fence on the back. Or I could get into dome cars too, right? I could have a multi-deck layout, or like do a mushroom style layout where you walk up a platform up into the dome of the thing.
Or you could do like the guy that runs Rapido Trains and have a section of a passenger car built into his house.
Did he do that? I didn't know he did that.
I think so. Yeah, if you go on the Rapido YouTube channel, if you find that video, it's in there.
There's a truck stop in, I think it's just into Alabama from the Florida Panhandle on I-10 that has a train-themed restaurant. All right, and part of it from the outside is a car.
I mean, look at the subway car diners.
Yeah.
I mean, you see them everywhere. Well, not everywhere now, but they used to be everywhere. The old subway car diners.
A lot of the even the streamline diners.
Well, that's true. Maybe I could buy an old New York City subway car.
When the McDonald's opened up here at Thayer back in, I believe it was 1997, if you walked in the inside of it when it first opened for about the first 10 years or so, that place was a train thing. McDonald's. They had signage, they had paintings of friends in there, and they had a BN caboose that sat out front or alongside the restaurant. The caboose is still there. Also, yeah, the caboose is still there, and they had railroad signals around the building. And when they started redoing all the McDonald's, McCafe, they made them take all that out. So the only things that's left is the BN caboose and I think a couple of signals. And that's all that's left.
Hey, Robert, I hear a little bit of echo. Make sure your YouTube's off in the background.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, Michael said the Boulder McDonald's had a caboose attached to the back as a party room.
Oh, that's cool.
I think an ACF covered hopper would make a cool layout building. You would have to put in a floor and a door. Yeah, that would be nice. What about like a Gunderson auto rack?
There you go. That'd work.
That'd be a pretty cool layout. Or what about the old style What about the old style car carriers where they folded out?
Oh yeah, for the Vega.
And then you could do like the layout. You could like pull the car in somewhere, fold your layout out, and it could be like a traveling layout.
People have done that with trailers.
I think that'd be fun. So, Robert, you got us back yet?
Hang on a minute.
You would need to yeah. If it was an auto rack, I probably would need to close it in. Although maybe I'll just live somewhere with perfect weather, and then I won't need to do anything.
I told my wife that I was going to turn our 12-foot, 15-foot enclosed trailer, storage trailer, into a layout. She reminded me that HOA would not let me park it here.
Yeah, it's a problem with HOAs, right? Is that they definitely limit what you could build as well. Yeah, Steve's saying just get an 86-foot boxcar, which is what I was thinking. Aren't like the Pullmans? Didn't they have some 83-foot Pullman passenger cars? The longer ones too. I don't know what a Vertipack is. Is that the
you were talking about where the car?
Oh, okay.
They
Yeah,
used
yeah.
them on the Vega, and then when the Vega got replaced by the Monza was like 6 inches too long to be able to put them in the Vertipack trailers.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Andy a step saying just go with shipping. The shipping containers. So Roberts, for the one person here that might not know who you are, who are you?
Me, I'm a YouTuber with a YouTube channel called Robert's Train Set, as you can see. Started off on the dining room table with a 6-foot by 4-foot layout.
And you seem to have a little bit of an accent. Do you not live in the U.S.?
No, I'm in East Essex in UK. I'm originally from London, so probably why my accent's a bit different.
Slightly.
I'm a Brit, so
a lot of good
yeah.
videos where, Robert, I like the videos you did where you superimpose the window of the locomotive into the video and did a lot of neat stuff there.
Yeah. So the idea of my layout was I wanted to take it apart when I needed the table. But like all these things, and my layout's 00, which is sort of HO, but a little bit bigger. It doesn't quite work.
Robert, do you model English trains or North American trains?
I'm mostly English. I've got an Italian locomotive, a bendy one, bends in the middle. But yeah, mostly English, I would say. I'm not great into HO, mostly 00. So yeah.
Yep. And you just crossed 1,000 subs not too long ago, if I recall.
It was quite a while ago, and I'm having struggled getting much more. In fact, I lost 6 today. Don't know why. It must have been my live stream last night or yesterday, or whenever it was.
Thomas wants to know what era of British railroading.
It's it's called Robert's Train Set, so it's not any sort of era. I can run anything with anything, and I do. And if I like a loco, I'll get it, and I'll run it with coaches that are nothing to do with that loco. It's just easy, I just wanted to run trains. That's what I quite like doing, is running trains. I don't particularly like all the doing the scenery and all that, which is why I've got a track map for me yeah, I've got a track map. I don't use ballast or anything like that, really. I've got one little bit of ballast on the whole layout, which is actually in the fiddle yard. So and thank you, Michael, for that. I can see. But yeah, I just wanted a nice, simple way of getting into DCC, because I had a train set when I was young, as probably a few of us have. Life gets in the way and you don't do it. And I got retired. I did a few trips down to Australia and New Zealand and that, and then I came back and my wife passed away, unfortunately. So I thought I'd get back in. And when I saw that you could have DCC and sound, I basically started from the beginning again. I mean, I didn't have anything left from the old one. I bought a train set, Orby train set, which was, actually thinking about it now, pretty good value, and started with that and bought a few bits with it, and started it. And it's all sort of catalogued a bit in my channel.
How long have you been on YouTube for?
I've been on YouTube for getting on for about 2.5 years, 2.75 years. So
not that this will make you feel better, but after I hit 1,000 subscribers, it grinded to a halt for me as well. Well,
I think my problem is I like running trains, and funny enough, although we're in model railways and whatever, and we like running trains, I'm not sure YouTubers like watching that so much. They much rather see somebody fiddling with a little building and building it and all that, you see. I mean, some of my most successful, I did a conversion on a Hornby 66 where I put lights in it from a kit that you could buy over here, and it's getting up to 2,000 views. So
it is funny. It's hard to tell what people like watching.
I
do think, I have no clue. I do think it seems that if you're running trains, people like operations, unless they can decide what trains you run. Like, there are some channels where people are like, hey, will you run the XYZ? And then someone takes that out and runs that. And that gets a lot of...
It didn't work for me, because I tried that.
Didn't? Oh, really?
No, I tried it on a live stream and said I'll get out, within reason, and it didn't go very well. But, I mean, I did that live... Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, it's also, I think, over time, the particular person that I'm thinking about has been doing it for, a year or so consistently. So, like,
Glenn.
A certain night every week they would just run trains. So
yeah, so I've got about 300 videos up in that time. I'm slowing down a bit now, and I am diversifying. I've got cruise ships showing, and I've got I went on a steam train trip from Colchester, which there's two videos. There's a short video and a long video. The short video is done better than the long video by sort of almost 100, I think. But I must admit,
if I have a good live stream, or if there's a good section of a live stream, I'll edit it out and it's a separate video, because the short video does better than the long video.
Yeah, long videos are... It depends. I mean, the Hornby 66 was quite a long video, but then it needed it. I think as long as you don't have a lot of the same, you know what I mean? What I try to do now, not when I first started, as you'll see if you look at any of my earlier ones, I just try to have a lot of trains not for very long, if I can, because watching a train going round and round a track is boring after probably a minute,
Yeah, and that's what Daniel Banks has been saying too. It's not his cup of tea to watch that, but that's also, I think, what's great about the hobby is it attracts a lot of different types of people.
It does, yeah.
It kind of gives a place, it gives a place for everybody, which is nice,
true.
If you like watching trains run, there's that's out there.
That's right. So, I mean, I think that's why I got I was really struggling. It's really hard starting out. It really is. Probably I found it probably a lot harder than you did, because you're different, shall I say, from the normal starting YouTube.
I came to this with a very technical audio video background, so I definitely had a Yeah,
an
I definitely
advantage.
had an advantage with that. Yep.
Yeah. Whereas I'm a joiner, carpenter and joiner.
Yeah.
Or I
Yeah.
was. Well, I
So,
still am.
so I
but
should
I'm
get you
retired.
to come build my bench work for me, and I'll help you with.
Have you? I was looking a bit earlier before I came on, and I noticed. Have you thought about the way Steve there has done his on kitchen units? Because they're a solid unit, they're easy to put together, they're not particularly expensive, or I wouldn't have thought so over there. And Steve's works quite well, doesn't it, Steve? Hello.
I like it. It gives me storage. I still have to stain it and put all the front boards on and stuff. I'm getting there slowly but surely.
Hey, Robert, you may have you may have just said a quote that's going to stick with me for a while when you said Heath is different.
And also, of course, you don't have to have doors on them. You can get some of your storage down in them.
Yeah.
You know.
My dad does that. When my dad redid the kitchen, he moved everything into the garage, and he actually asked me if I wanted some of it for the room. But part of it is, and I showed these two pictures, but this is sort of right now. I'm basically the one on the left. I want to go to the one on the right. The one on the right with the layout being more rectangular and less square will give me more room.
Right.
But all of this is kind of just based on using the things I have. Where I eventually want to go and why like I haven't gone the kitchen table route or anything like that is, and unfortunately it looks like I've closed it, so now I have to find it again.
Yeah, I did see it. You're right.
Yeah. So you saw this one.
Have you? Why?
It is going to this. Something more like that. That's
Yeah.
that's the goal, is to get to a place like that.
What I noticed with you is you don't seem to be really sure what gauge you want to model in.
What gave you that idea?
Because you keep doing all these different gauges and whatever, I think to be honest, you want to choose a gauge, and HO is it's a reasonable size to work on. Although I still find 00 quite hard. I wouldn't want to do N gauge. And with all your shelves around there, I mean, a lot of like Sparky, he's got it all round the walls, hasn't he? On a shelf, So you could run round there and sort of actually take it up the walls and round again, couldn't you?
Yeah, and this, this layout, this version, I can definitely do that even with all the shelves. Like this, all the shelves that I have are all on movable standards and stuff.
Yeah.
So everything that's in here now, nothing is permanent that's in here now.
No.
So getting to this place is pretty simple. But N scale is the layout, is the scale that I model.
Right.
The other scales are scales that I kind of collect.
Right.
And what it really is that the Microtrains has N scale circuit stuff and Z scale circuit stuff.
Right.
So between being in GG1s, I then have the N scale stuff and the Z scale stuff. The HO scale stuff that I had before like current time is all passenger stuff, because that's what I got as a kid.
Yeah.
All of the new stuff that I have is all either circus stuff or GG1 stuff.
Right.
The O scale stuff, it's really O gauge. It's not really even O scale. Michael says I have commitment issues. The O gauge stuff was kind of a mistake, and it's not something I regret getting into, but and I know people don't like when people refer to trains as toys necessarily, but the O gauge stuff that I have is not at all prototypical, and to me it feels more like a toy. So like the N scale stuff to me is where my sort of prototypical modeling is going to happen. and the O scale would be, or the O gauge would be completely on the other side where it's just toy for fun. And the G scale stuff is a circus train that I got like 20 years ago,
Right.
and it was just for fun. So my issue is as a collector, not so much as a modeler. As a modeler, I'm definitely into N scale.
Yeah. Right. Can I interject? Is that the word?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, O scale. I did sort of look at O scale, and the problem with O scale is you need loads and loads of room, and
Yes.
even your little room isn't anywhere near it because
Correct.
you need huge curves. But
Correct.
to say O scale is sort of toyish, you're obviously not looking over here because we're getting locos out here that are more realistic than double O or HO, but they
And
cost 750 quid a time.
Well, and Tim's
Without
clarified it. It's the O gauge stuff to me is more like toys. The O scale stuff is definitely more prototypical, but that's not what I have. I don't have anything that is O scale.
No. The thing about
But yeah, Andy Estep is Andy is actually 2-rail O scale, and he does British stuff.
Yeah, gauge is the size of the track.
Mm-hmm.
Scale is the size of what it's scaled at. So O gauge is about 36 mil rail, but the actual scale is 7 millimeters to the foot.
So yes, you're 100% correct.
Right.
And in the U.S., for whatever reason, they've completely screwed up the reality of those names, and they use the words incorrectly. But it's kind of what they like.
It's the old Lionel 3-rail.
Yeah.
The original stuff.
Yeah.
That
now
it's O gauge, but it's not to scale. It's O27.
So it's technically O27, but people, instead of saying O27, people hear a lot of times say O gauge.
And I mess up and call it O scale too from time to time. But I think too that's probably what scares a lot of people off from O gauge, because they get confused that it's O scale, and then all of a sudden you see these O scale trains with like locomotives with like $2,000 price tags, and everybody goes, "Whoa, that's way out of my budget." So
yeah, and that's what's hard though too. Like Robert, like joining this stream, it's a little bit like if we were talking about, or if Robert was talking about putting his luggage in his boot, we would all be over here being like, why is Robert putting his luggage in his shoes? Because it wouldn't make any sense. But a boot to Robert is a trunk to us, right?
Yeah.
So I think O gauge has been so sort of messed up with Lionel and just all that other stuff that it's just
like 3 different things. Heath, you've got like
we've got the double O gauge and the HO gauge. Now, the HO gauge is actually more accurate to scale. The double O was it was done at sort of 4 mil to the foot, but HO is sort of 3 mil to the foot, and that's actually accurate to the gauge. But we do have modelers over here that do another scale which is accurate to the gauge of double O, and I think their track is about 18 millimeter gauge, and obviously all the wheel sets and everything will have to be made bigger, and I think it's called EM gauge. Yeah, you have a look for EM gauge on YouTube.
Yeah, HOEM, right? I think I've seen that.
No, it's just they just call it EM over here. I don't think they do HO, because basically it's the double O locomotives and rolling stock, but the gauge of the track is right for the size of double O locomotives. Now, when I bought this Italian locomotive, and it was a 1954 variety of locomotive, but it bends in the middle, and I was quite intrigued by that. That's why I bought it. And I did a sort of when I sort of introduced it, I did like a comparison and sort of said, you know, if this was, in double O instead of HO, it would be that much bigger, And
So
on that
is HO and double O though use the same gauge track, correct?
yeah, but the track gauge.
It's only the scale that's wrong or that's different.
No, it's the track that's wrong for double O. So the track is right for HO, right?
Right.
But it's wrong for double O. Double O should be slightly wider, which is what the EM gauge do. And they're the ultimate sort of modelers. They sort of make their own locos out of metal kits and all that, or even scratch build them,
Learn something new every day.
Double O is what, 178 or 176, somewhere in there? Robert? Double O?
Yeah, there we are.
EM
Yeah.
was developed because OO gauge, favored by manufacturers of British prototype models, utilized track that was too narrow.
Yeah.
Interesting perspective on that. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I'll throw in, the Thomas the Tank Engine
Yes.
trains, those are actually double O scale, technically.
Was it the Hornby ones or the Bachmann ones? I thought the Hornby was double O.
The Bachmann, that's the ones that my niece has. She has the Bachmann version. But they are technically double O scale.
So why is double O called double O gauge? Shouldn't it be called double O scale? Because it's actually HO gauge?
I think it was because it was half of O. They called it double O.
Yeah, here it says, unfortunately, the double O track gauge of 16.5 millimeters, same as HO scale, is actually incorrect for 4 millimeter scale.
That's right. I'm glad I've been proved correct. Yeah.
Hey, you know what they say? A broken clock is correct twice a day. So
Yeah, very true.
So Andy says that the issue with double O is that the motors needed to fit, so they adjusted the scale to fit the motors.
Yeah, but of course, if you did it these days, you wouldn't need to because the motors are a lot smaller.
So wow.
Was double O before HO? I mean, is that why it came into being? Because HO, the motors fit. They didn't fit in double O. I don't. Must have been before HO. The motors were still bigger.
So when I ran the HO loco and the carriages I bought in HO with my double O, wouldn't really notice any difference. There's some videos with them with HO and double O. So yeah, HO and double O running together on my layout, and I don't think you'd realise it was that much smaller. I mean, the pantographs got in the flaming way, but otherwise it was all right,
So it says double O scale was launched by Bing, B-I-N-G, a German company, a German toy company in 1921. So let's see if I can find what HO scale says.
I'm betting HO was after that.
I think there was a video on YouTube about all these scales and all the ins and outs, and it's not simple.
I knew there was a difference. I just didn't know why it was different. But the motor issue makes sense as long as double O developed prior to HO. Once the motors came down in size, then they could do the proper scale to the gauge. And thus,
So, reading this history, it kind of says that Bing, that company Bing, that calling it HO or OO was interchangeable in 1922. It's what it sounds like it's saying, but I don't know if that's true. The name HO comes from 1/87th scale being half that of O scale, which was previously the smallest of the series of older and larger O, 1, 2, and 3 gauges introduced by Merklin around 1900.
Actually, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Because HO is half of O. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Bing made the first OO pre-war. Bing made engines for Ives. Ives, IBES, here in the U.S. So if it's double OO, shouldn't double OO be twice as big as O? If half O is half of O?
Well, maybe, but it isn't. Because if it was, none of us would be doing double O, would we? We'd have to have Buckingham Palace to put it in.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a wrench in this conversation.
Okay.
Just because I feel like it'll be fun to see where this goes.
Yeah. Do I need to put my crash helmet on?
You might. In the U.S., we have... Oh, here we go. OO is half of British O. Not HO is half of American O.
Boy.
Okay, that wasn't the headache I was going to throw.
You're hearing now is my head exploding.
Yeah. Okay. So
both can't be half of O.
okay. So here's the headache I'm going to throw in. In the U.S., a very popular scale is based on narrow gauge stuff. So HON3, right?
Right.
Is there an OON3, or are there any narrow gauge scales in European trains?
Yeah. And I'm trying to drastically think what it's called. I think it's called 009. So it's trains that are
But 9 is N
scale.
scale.
Trains at a 00 scale, but run on N gauge track.
Right, because it's 9 millimeter is the track. 9 millimeter.
Yeah. So like the Welsh railways, Festiniog and all them, they're narrow gauge railways,
So HON3 in the US is the same then as 009 in the UK, because isn't HON3 is HO scale trains on N scale track?
I don't know. That's your ballpark over there, so don't know. I mean, just to throw another thing in the thing, I mean, I went to New Zealand and they run on narrow gauge, but the trains are just as big as the ones over here, if not bigger, I did notice they went quite slowly, probably frightened of falling off the track, but there we are. But Kiwi Rail it's all narrow gauge.
Dwell says large scale trains experience the same issues. They all share the same 45 millimeter gauge track. However, scale determines the prototype gauge represented by the 45 millimeter distance between the rails. And I think you're talking about O gauge, correct? Because I believe like LGB is 132, but other G scale stuff is 128. So I think prototypical G scale is 128. LGB is... Anyway, Michael McCarville says it's called Pfitzner scale, which is 2.5 times larger than ZN3, except on Tuesdays.
Why not on Tuesdays?
So this is getting a little political, but because it's British and I think it's funny, I'm going to let it go a little bit. But no wonder Brexit was so hard. They make everything complicated.
No, it's nothing difficult with Brexit. It's just the politicians, as always.
I know. As long as it's not 007.
Well, he's bringing a new movie out soon, isn't he, finally? So that'll be good. They
are, yes, finally.
Yeah, next month, I think. To that. Yeah, after about 3 postponements. Because obviously they cost a lot of money to make, don't they? So they've got to get their money back, and they make a lot of it back on the box office. So, yeah.
What are you asking, Steve?
Isn't there an ON3, a narrow gauge O scale?
Yes. And there's an NN3 as well. There's a narrow gauge N scale, which runs on Z scale track.
Yep.
What's the difference in price between the Z scale and the either the M or the double O or HO rather in your case over there? Is the price a lot different?
Depends on what you're buying. So, something like this, which is a GG1 by Merklin, is like $250 to $300, depending on where you can find it.
Right.
An N scale, and that's without a decoder.
Right.
But a Z scale, I don't know where it is. But like a Z scale New York Central locomotive, just like an F unit from Microtrains,
Right.
is only $100, right? So it $100 to $250 for a locomotive.
Yeah.
In N scale, it's kind of the same thing. It kind of around that same range, I guess. So
Yeah.
N scale and HO.
Can you fit sound into the Z scale?
I cannot.
No. Is it?
Just to throw this in there, on the HO side, that depends on what type of HO locomotive you buy. Like, for instance, Scale Trains has a rivet counter and then their operator line, which is far cheaper. So,
right.
Yep.
Yeah, we have
So
Hornby have Railroad over here, which are cheaper.
Yeah, so Z-Scale definitely has DCC decoders.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if people have. I don't know if there are sound decoders for Z-Scale though.
Right. It would be quite tight, I think. Very tight. Although they do it in N-gauge very well. I mean, the N-gauge sounds good.
You can always put
And when you think how big the speaker must be,
Yeah, I mean,
in a dummy or in a boxcar or passenger car or something like that.
But to be honest, over here, we're the cost of the stuff in Double O is getting ridiculous. It really is getting ridiculous.
it is here too.
Yeah, they want to. Well, the new stuff that's coming out might be £300 without a decoder in. And with the rate, that's probably $350.
Now, 300 pounds would be about $200. Two and a quarter.
yeah,
It does seem like the value of trains has definitely not dropped, and it's even maybe gone up over the pandemic just because of availability and interest. I mean, I do think there's probably more. Be interesting to find out, but I do think there's more interest today than there was before the start of the pandemic.
Oh, there is, yeah. We had people coming on and just starting a train set because they had plenty of time and they were at home, and
Right.
It's a good way of passing the time as well. I'm sure we'll all agree.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's also a very good resource for learning different things. I mean, especially if you go on YouTube. I mean, I wasn't very good at typing, and I wasn't very good at writing, and I'm still not that good, but I've learned to do that and a lot better than I used to. So it's a good learning resource because you need to know quite a lot of different things. Electronics a bit and construction, like you're finding out, and that sort of thing.
I went the wrong way on the exchange. 300 pounds.
I'll throw this in here.
$350.
Yeah. Can I throw this in here right quick too? And I just want to get you guys' take on this. Are we asking too much out of these body companies because we're asking for more sounds, more details, more lighting, more pretty much everything?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the problem.
I would argue that we're not asking for too much. I would argue that any company that puts something out that's not ready as a commercial product is where the mistake kind of falls. Like there's no reason not to dream. There's no reason not to want something where it gets where it gets tricky is then actually trying to make it a real thing. And that's, you know, I mean, yeah, the more you ask for, the more it's going to cost. But if people are willing to
There
pay
you go,
for it,
Steve.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything, isn't it?
yeah, like Robert says, we want the quality of brass, but not the price.
I don't think I'd want
Because
brass.
It's
well,
just like,
Thank you very much.
and the latest one, the Tier 4, the one I reviewed the other day, it's got this newest one has ground lights as appropriate to the road name, operating walkway lights, rotating bearing caps, ESU V5 look sound decoder, and you know who knows what we're going to be looking at 5 or 10 years down the road. Are we going to see step lights, smoke? Well, I'd say smoke's probably coming, but
You can
you know,
have,
just
there's a company over here that will convert a steam locomotive to do steam, and it's water vapor. It's water vapor, not oil.
So here's an interesting question from Andrew. It's called model railroading. Is it still considered modeling if you just buy it all?
yes. It's a replica of something. That's the definition of modeling. Modeling does not have to be something built.
Yeah, and this is
look,
what
I'm
I
not
was getting
saying-
into, right? Is
Right
being
now-
a beta tester is not too bad, but way too much is released in the development and alpha phases. And that's where I think, you know. But Randall mentioned ESU. I ordered a locomotive back in November with an ESU decoder that still hasn't arrived because ESU, for whatever reason, can't make the decoders. Because they can't get the, I mean, not
Chip.
for whatever reason. I mean, we know why they can't get the chips, but
Yeah.
The components to the chips.
oh, interesting. So Rick R does O-scale, I believe it is, and he's saying he wish Katie couplers would already come with my trains. I'd pay a little extra if they were available.
Shouldn't even have to pay extra for the price of what these locomotives are, and the cost difference between a McCheapy coupler and a Katie coupler, right, is what, a quarter? But they're making extra quarter on thousands of units, if not tens of thousands. So it adds their profits.
But then it's kind of but then you're kind of creating a monopoly, right? If you say I only want to buy something with a KD coupler, I mean, I get it. I mean,
yeah,
if you're
I
buying
like-
a premium
I like
a Genesis, all right, as an example, you don't want a sub-premium coupler. It's like
well, okay. So Atlas makes a, I'm totally blanking on the name now, but
it's not. Well, they have the Automax car with KD, so
well, I was saying in microtrains, there's an
okay.
Atlas version of the microtrains connector, which is just
Yeah.
as good. But microtrains kind of has the market to some extent because of, you know, their whole split with KD and all that whatnot. So what,
but Steve,
you know, getting Atlas with an Atlas connector or a microtrains with a microtrains connector, like why should Atlas supply a microtrains connector or vice versa?
Steve, here's the deal. Now, I agree. You know, being in business, running businesses, you got to make business have to make a profit. Okay, but adding $1, right, actually cost 50 cents. Add 50 cents to 75 cents to the price of the locomotive, and put a decent coupler on them instead of the cheapos. Right, is a huge difference. You shouldn't have to be tearing apart rivet counters or Genesis locomotives to put on a KD coupler and risk destroying some of the fine detail that they're putting into these models.
Should microtrains come with plastic wheel sets? Which some people argue the new microtrains, some people argue the plastic wheel sets are just as good. But you know, it's like
On a premium kit, it ought to be premium parts. That's simple. Right? It should be metal wheels, metal axles, should be KD couplers, or equivalent, but I don't know of an equivalent in HO to a KD. You buy a second line, right, like a Athearn ready to roll, or in case like Blue Box or whatever.
I have,
Yeah, you can put the cheapo stuff on it because that's what
yeah,
you run.
Steve, I've got quite a lot of plastic wheels on my trains. Basically, if you buy the railroad, you always get plastic wheels. And what I'd say is, I find them a lot quieter when you're running the train.
Yes, they are.
Metal wheels do make a hell of a din when you're running them at a reasonable speed, unless you've got all the stuff under the track, which I haven't got. My layout is on Conti board, which is basically chipboard with Formica both sides, albeit cheap Formica. And you know, it can drum a lot. And I do find the plastic wheels are a lot quieter. Now, what they don't like about plastic wheels is they say it makes your track a lot dirtier because the plastic comes off. But I hardly
people
ever
say
have to
that
clean
people
mine.
say the dirt on the track is actually arcing. They say the black that you see on the track is arcing from the electrical connection, that it's not dirt from plastic wheels.
Well, it could well be. Yeah.
It's some of it.
It's not all
Yeah,
of it.
a part of it, I think.
The majority is other
I
stuff.
mean, the track always get dirtier on the curves, or it does for mine, because you know you've got the edge of the wheel against to stop you sliding off, haven't you?
I would also
So,
argue too that
yeah.
it's based on location, because if you're at high elevation, you're going to get a lot more dust and so forth too. So even where you live is going to be a factor in all that.
Yeah, mine's in the loft.
Yeah, exactly. So
Steve,
Steve 87th PSAP, this is a great question. If you buy a box car, what coupler do you put on it? Because it depends on if you're doing ops, you may put different couplers on it.
So yeah, definitely. When I buy box cars, I buy the
you-
most cheapest I can. And when it comes to the KD couplers, I always get the ones that have they call it the whisker coupler, that you have the wire attached to the actual coupler itself.
Yeah,
I was just about to say, I use the 158 couplers for
but the flies are fine too.
for all the box cars and hopper cars and whatnot. And then the tank cars, I'll use a 119 SE double shelf coupler, where it has a little nub on top and a little nub on the bottom. The only real downside is it gets kind of difficult to unhook those cars if you.
So why don't we stop buying cars with trucks and couplers, and why don't manufacturers make it where you buy the car and you buy the truck and you buy the coupler as separate pieces, and they ship them to you as separate pieces, and you put them together?
Don't do that because then your price goes up even higher.
I mean, I get back in the day, right, when you would buy Athearn cars and stuff like that, right? I mean, you were basically buying the different kits. Where Dad Cook says, let's just go back to Hornhook.
Well,
right? I mean, it's
they were
a
just
lot of
really
people just want ready to run.
Yeah, it just kind of goes back to what do you want to pay for? For me personally, I buy used $1 box cars, and then I upgrade to everything that I want it to be. Others just want to buy straight out of the box ready to go. It just depends, and that's one of the great things I like about the hobby, is that you can do either or. Now, a lot of hobbies allow you to do that.
I've got I use about 4 different couplings on my trains. I've got the standard Hornby ones that are fixed to the thing with a rivet. We've got the NEM pockets, obviously, and I have anything from the small normal coupler. I've got the Continental coupler. I've got KDs as well, and I've got the uncoupler block in my terminal station for the KDs, and at the end of my big, my fairly long fiddle yard, I've got the Hornby ones for their type, and I must say the KD ones are far more reliable, I would say, as long as you get them in the right place.
And I'll give Heath a good example, or give you guys a good example, since Heath brought up the kit cars. Accurail still makes kits. Scale Trains has their Kit Classics line. Both of those cars run either side of $20.
Yeah, but
in price.
but quantity wise, how many of those do they sell compared to like an Athearn ready to run? I mean,
can't
I
remember.
love blue boxes. I mean, I've got lines of blue boxes back on my thing, but
Yeah.
that was also when you couldn't get ready to run cars. Nobody's buying, not nobody. Quantity wise, like what's flying off the shelves in train stores are not kits anymore. I mean,
No,
all
they're
my
not.
Roundhouse stuff up there are kits, right? But nobody's buying, everyone's buying, N scale in a jewel case that's ready to run.
That's just what I was getting ready to say. The Accurail and the Scale Trains kits I'm using as an example that run on either side of $20. You turn around and look at the same company, or you turn around and look at the Scale Trains operator line, and as you mentioned, the Athearn Roundhouse, they're about right around $25 to $27. So you're not really paying that much more for a ready to run car as you are a kit. So, a lot
So
of
people are buying ready to run.
There you go.
And this gets into the argument too that I had. I'm laughing because I don't even know if I should bring it up, but the NMRA has the achievement program. And there's this whole thing of the achievement program where it's based on modeling in the 60s and 70s, right? It's not based on modeling now. So it's like, how do you update the NMRA achievement program when I can buy a Scale Trains rivet counter series that's got more details than anyone's going to put on anything else? So it's like, when I can buy it ready to run, why should I make it? So it's but yeah, I mean, these Walther boxes, right? These were, when these came out, these were all kits. Now they're all ready to run. And I guess here's the question too. To grow the hobby, what would grow the hobby more? A ready-to-run car at $50 or a kit car at $25?
If there was that much difference,
Ready to run.
there isn't.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think Robert's right. I think ready to run.
there isn't that kind of split anymore.
And also hopefully cheaper than that.
Right,
Because-
and that is the thing, right? I mean, is if people were not buying and I know what he's talking about. There are some Athearn ready-to-run cars that are just ridiculously priced.
Oh, yeah.
But if people weren't buying them, they probably would drop the price.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
Well,
There's
But-
too
but
many
I mean-
people in the world that are buying them, so that's not going to happen, Heath.
and that's exactly it. Is we're talking about we are a unique group of people in that we're choosing to spend our Fridays talking about models coming with metal wheels and couplers, when I think your average model railroader probably wants to just take it out of the box and put it on their layout.
That's what I want. That's what I do. But it's out of the box and out of the box. When I first started, Hornby do this railroad range, and the first thing I thought when I started doing it was the scale I wanted, which I was used to, which was 00. I definitely wanted DCC, but I also wanted sound, and nearly every one of my locos is sound. I've only got about 4 or 5 that aren't, out of about 38 locos. But I bought a Railroad Class 37, which, okay, admittedly is pretty basic, but you can titivate it up a bit, which I did, mostly with a felt tip pen, to be honest. And that came complete with sound, albeit the Hornby CTS, which is a lot cheaper. And it runs pretty well. And that was 80 quid, I think, something 85 pounds. To go and buy a lock sound decoder is, well, over here, it's 115 quid, Right. So you're getting a whole loco, for a lot less. And I did a sort of a little bit of a run-in with it. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. No, 3 years ago, Well, I filmed it maybe that far ago, and that's
Yeah,
for whatever
and he-
reason, people are still looking at it.
So I'm going to tease something that's
Yeah, I
coming up
saw-
because it's actually a good little segue into it. If you remember last year, we gave away some starter train sets for Christmas. And the conversation's starting to come up again. Michael McCarville has said he's going to step away from it, but he'll help us with the connection with the Greenlee Museum. But the Sidetrack Sunday crew is going to take it on again. And I guess as we're sort of talking about this, I think starter sets is still the thing to give away for the holiday. So I think that's probably still what it should be. Chuck from CDP 1965 did a video, setting up the train and, setting up the train with his grandkid and running it. And as Dwell said, most new hobbyists just want to get the trains running, and like seeing him
Absolutely. Yeah.
seeing him run that starter set was like great, and knowing that we gave it away and was a part of it. But are there other things like the goal of the Christmas giveaway is to get more people interested in the hobby, to get more young people interested in the hobby? I guess anybody, but
Yeah.
Agreed. So is starter sets the right approach, or is there a different approach that we could give away to people? Or, like what's the...
It's really down to how much money you've got to spend, really, isn't it?
Well, and so what we do, we'll open it up. We'll open it up to people. We got, I think, $900 last holiday season to give away sets for kids and for we gave some money to the Greeley Museum. Not the Greeley. It's not called the Greeley Museum anymore. It's called the
Colorado Model Railroad Museum.
That museum. They have a youth program there. So people will give money towards expanding the hobby. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best method of growing the hobby. And I do think starter sets is a great
Yeah, I think right now starting set team, getting people into the hobby.
Yeah,
I bet
it's a
you
good idea.
90% of the people on the stream now started at some point. Maybe it was when they're little with a starter set.
Yep.
Well, Andy just brought up, what about Train Simulator?
I don't know that
the
that's
computer
gonna bring
games
people into the hobby.
It is a hobby, yeah. Computer games are a hobby. Yeah,
Yeah, but
they
it's
are.
not the same hobby.
Yeah,
But
I would
don't-
also even argue beyond starter sets, just more train shows, just to get the young crowd just watching what the hobby entails. Then that can get you potentially into the next step of a starter set, into DCC and so forth as well.
Yeah, I think
and like
YouTube, I think YouTube's got a big thing to do. I went next door to one of my neighbours, and he's got a train set in his shed, which he still hasn't finished. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, okay. So I looked on YouTube and looked at, railways on there, which is where I learned about the DCC. And I made a decision. I said, right, I want, double track, because that's what I had as a kid. And as a kid, I had to get it out every time I wanted to use it on the carpet floor, in the bed set. And I bought a Majestic train set from Hornby for 250 quid, which had 2 trains in it, both DCC equipped, not sound, 2 tracks of track and a siding. And I bought, I think, a level crossing with it and a few other bits. I got it out. I probably had it running up within 2 days. I'd already made the baseboard and got it on the dining room table, And okay, 250 quid is a lot of money for other people, but yeah, the starter kit, you can buy a starter kit for 50 or 60 quid and get it running around. Yeah, it's going to pick the thing. Whereas I think computer games, it's a quick way to get into EM Gauge or something like that, because it's so realistic, isn't it? I'm sure.
Yeah, I like what I like about the modeling is partially the tactile aspect of it, which is why I'm not sure that I would be into the computer side of it. but
I'm not.
some people like it. And I think so. Split Rock mentioned this: giving a young person a stream does no good if there's not a mentor or someone to help them. Part of the way we set up the giveaway, or the way we're trying to set up the giveaway, is that we hold the contest on a stream like this, so that the people that win the starter set are actually the model railroaders already. And the idea is that they get the starter set and then they give it to their grandkid, or they give it to a kid in the neighborhood, so that that kid can come over to their house and see their model railroad, as well as then have their own at home. So the hopefully the idea of the starter set is more of a is that they do then build that kind of mentor relationship with somebody. And that's why, like, Chuck CDP 65's video was so great, is because he got to sit with his grandson, and set the train set up with him. So his excitement for the hobby, was passed along.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Well, and this is another thing I think we need to really keep an eye on. I know I mentioned scale trains a lot, but we really need to keep an eye on them, because now they have MTH's HO tooling as well as their track system. So what do they do with that? Do they start coming out with sets? And what will they be like?
Yeah, and that's, there are definitely different price levels of starter sets. We last year, I believe it was the O scale set, I believe, was Lionel, and I think all of the HO and N scale sets were Bachmann. But maybe this year, if we plan a little differently, we can maybe buy a better starter set.
And that's one of my fears when it comes to starter sets, is that, are we getting too expensive with them? Are we adding too many bells and whistles so that it kind of gatekeeps the next generation of model railroaders into the hobby?
Well, and that's a great aside too.
Yeah,
is like somebody could buy you can buy a Nintendo Switch and a couple games for, a couple $100, or you could buy the latest starter set with sound and DCC and one of those things as well, which, yeah, becomes a thing as well.
Yeah, Hornby over here you can actually have sound on DC, and control the locos with an app on the phone, which would appeal to the kids, I suppose, wouldn't it? And that's obviously cheaper,
There's a couple of Bluetooth options here as well. The new Lionel stuff is voice controlled or voice activated.
Yes. Yep,
or something.
That is true.
Just
that is right.
Back minute.
So, like, for a kid, how fun is that to some extent, to be able to, just like they can say, Alexa, turn on the lights, they can now say, Thomas, go around the track. So we're getting a little payback from the. So he's saying this is probably a Norris locomotive circa 1840.
Back again.
Yeah, and so here's the thing, right? So you buy, let's say, a $99 starter set that doesn't have sound, doesn't have DCC, and all that kind of stuff. But sound will definitely bring children into the hobby, right? I mean, part of what's so interesting is all the sounds that the trains make. But if it's a $300 starter set, how do you...
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, when I ran my locomotives at the club display last year, and the club vice president had his Challenger, the little kids were all gravitating to the trains with the sounds and lights and all that stuff. I mean, it wasn't just the adults. The little kids would actually run around the layout and follow the train as it went around. So...
Yeah, and that's what Ray Ron's saying. That's why I believe DC is vital to entry. Are we complicated things by adding all the bells and whistles from Dwell 77? All of this HO stuff is DC. All of my Lionel stuff is just AC. The only DCC stuff I have is in N scale. None of my other stuff is anything other than um, it's yeah. I mean, sometimes simple is better, but
We're trying to introduce them to the hobby, not bring them in at a intermediate level.
I mean, I also grew up along the Northeast Quarter, which is why I've got all these Atherton Blue Box passenger trains, because when I went to the train shows back in the day, I wanted the passenger cars because that's what I saw. How many kids see trains in their daily life anymore? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
that's also one reason I mentioned scale trains by name, because they don't have train sets. But like I said, with the acquisition of MTH's HO tooling, they now have all their locomotives at their disposal. Their track system, their good number of freight cars. What do they do
Yeah,
with
but
that?
I mean, Scale Trains is so expensive, and they're such a niche company. I don't see them getting into cheap starter sets like Bachmann or Lionel have. It's just not a. It's just not a. Yeah, it's just not a thing. And like Michael's even saying, not every 7-year-old will become a DCC plus sound rivet counter, and that's.
No, they're not.
And that's kind of why, as much as it's not running right now, but I've got this. I'm trying to get out of the way. This right here is a Bachmann HO scale trolley, and the details just not there. But it was only $50, and it's kind of fun. So it's like, who cares to some extent.
Can I be quite naughty and do a plug? I've got a video going up in about 4 minutes time on my channel.
Sure. Why didn't anybody that wants to do a plug? Let's start with the plugs. It's 2:00. Yeah. I'm hungry, and right. I need to go get some lunch. So yeah, Robert, why don't you start us off? People in the chat can post what's going on with their channels. Yeah. And then we'll start wrapping this up.
Nearly 7 o'clock in the evening here, which is why I'm looking a bit dull. And if I put the big light on, it's behind me, so it makes me in shadow, which might be a good idea.
It does look like there was less and less light as the stream went on.
Not particularly bright at the moment. Sun's gone in. We've had the sun out today. Anyway, I've got a video going up, and it's actually a challenge from over your side of the pond. I've already done 2 on one video, and I've got one more. Ray Eltham challenged me to do it. So that's going up in 2 minutes' time. And that's actually got my Hornby Railroad 37 in it with a sound on. Not all the time, but some of the time. And there's also a Class 52 Western, which is quite an expensive loco, a Daypole one. And it's got various... I won't tell you what it's pulling because it will give away what the challenge is. But you have a look, and it's it's about 8 or 9 minutes long. I think 10 minutes long. And I do my normal thing, trying to get up close to the logos, cameras on the platform, that sort of thing, which is what I like doing, to be honest. And I also like doing graphics. So I'll do a driver's view, but I'll put maybe the actual loco inside so you can see it a bit. Very difficult trying to get photos you can use to do it, but done 1 or 2, and I really sort of enjoy that. It brings a toy train, because basically it's a train set. Mine is to life to me anyway. So that's my plug. So 7 o'clock, Robert's train set, but it'll be there for the duration. You can still see my first video, which I did, 2.5 years ago or so, which was awful, but I couldn't edit. And I had just a normal camera, a film camera, picture camera, photo camera. And I did I think it was a whole 15-minute video without editing at all, So So when it went out of focus, it was out of focus. And but I got it up. And I think, doing your first one is once you've done the first one, it bites you and you want to do more, don't you? And you gradually improve over time.
Yeah.
Well, I did, I think. But yeah.
Yeah.
But I got a good push up from Alan at Dragon Junction Mark II as it is now. Without him, I think I'd be struggling with 50 views and 10 subscribers. So I think a bit of a boost up from established YouTubers does really help.
Yeah,
definitely.
anyway,
That's my lot.
It definitely helps. I posted Robert's link, but anybody that's in chat, if you see somebody that looks like they got some interesting videos come out, unfortunately there's no go to channel. You have to just copy their channel name and then go give them a search for in YouTube. But if you can't find somebody, let me know and I'll try and help and post up their link. But it looks like a lot of people have videos, weathering videos, ballasting videos.
Oh yeah.
Podcasts we got coming out.
Can I just say, when you put when you try to search for a channel on YouTube in the search part, when you start off with sort of well-known things, you get a list of channels, don't you, coming down below it. But if it's sort of a more, shall we say, an obscure channel, it will just you won't have anything, and you think it's not going to find anything. But just finish off the whole title and click on the the search link, and it usually does find them.
Yep.
But don't.
Yeah, it's
don't
pretty amazing.
Just put it. Yeah. Don't.
And I look at people's I look at people's avatars as well and line up their pictures with their names if it's like a regular name.
Yeah.
I can usually find it that way. As well.
Well, Robert, I'll give you another. There's another challenge out there. It's my pass some gas challenge. Running some tanker cars.
I'm not doing anymore. I'm not doing anymore, Steve. I say it in the video, so I've got an escape there. What I will say is that my channel emblem is a picture of my ugly mug and a bit of my body with a background of Bergen in Norway. And I sort of explained to people the reason I did that is because my channel name, Robert's Train Set, I thought everybody would think I'm a kid, which would be nice if I was, but I'm, 71 coming up. And I thought I'd better show that I'm not a kid, So
that's a kid.
Young at heart.
71, yeah, of course it is.
71's a kid.
Yeah, 71's a kid, yeah. Well, you're wearing your age very well, Heath, I must say.
I'm not 71, not yet, but
I gathered that.
I'm getting closer. So, Steve, what else, while you're up here, what else you want to...
my challenge.
You got your challenge.
Yeah. Early in the week, I put my monthly update up yesterday.
You did?
And
you put your monthly update up yesterday, which was September 2nd, but the update said it was for August.
It is for August. It's what
That's
I
right,
did in August.
You do all the work in
August. I can't put August up in August.
August, no, that's right. Agreed with that, Heath. Come along. You're supposed to be a media mogul. Even you should realise you can't do a thing unless it's actually happened, can you?
Robert, maybe you have to be over 60 to understand our logic, our proper logic process, right?
You mean we're sensible? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also have a tip of the day.
But I don't think we should annoy our host.
Oh, yes, we should.
I don't think so. No. He's doing a good job, isn't he? If he's managed to get to 1,000 subscribers, took me ages and ages.
That's all I have, Heath.
I don't even know what to say. I'm just going to keep going on. Rayron, you got anything you want to pitch?
Sure. Thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate everyone here. Heath, to the community here, you guys are awesome. You guys can find all my content at rayronvr.com. And if you want to know more, that's where you'll find me.
Awesome. Randall, anything going on besides scale train stuff?
Not really. I'm going to film a mail call here in a little bit. I've got something in the other day that I found that's really cool. I do have part 1 of the Scale Trains Tier 4 Gevo review up now. I'm going to try and do a part 2 where we compare it to past runs as well as an Intermountain model. So that's down the pipe sometime. So other than that, that's about it. Waiting for October to head to the club display.
Nice. Nice.
We're all looking forward to. We've got Getz on in beginning of October, which is a great electric train show. It's basically Hornby magazine, and that's at Milton Keynes in a big stadium. And it's sort of second. I would say it's second only to Worley. You know, which Worley's not on this year. They've cancelled it again.
They did cancel it again.
Yeah, it's been cancelled again because of you know what, which I think is a bit.
No, I know.
Bit short-sighted, but when you've got that many people, you know, to book up, and then it might get cancelled because we're still getting 30,000 cases a day here, and sort of at least 100 deaths a day. So you know, we're not out of the woods, but of course we've got no restrictions on at the moment. You know, we're fine. We're walking about our normal way, really. Although if you're sensible, you still wear a mask, but a lot of people aren't. I notice, you know. So. But yeah, I'm looking forward, and we're going to have a load of YouTubers going to that, hopefully. So just waiting on my ticket to come for the Saturday. So that'll be good. Yeah,
nice.
And that's the first one I've been to for 2 years, probably. I think.
Yeah, I went to Edison, which had one. Edison Greenberg train show had one in Edison recently, and they've got another one in November that I'm hoping I can still go to. But it's. Yeah, you know, just taking a day at a time around here. So, I don't know. Please support everybody. Check everybody out. Copy paste, people's channels into Google and try and find people. If you can't find people, let me know. I did run the live stream list again at the beginning of the video. So if you go in, you can see that that list is there, and subscribe to those people and check out their live streams. There's also just people's regular shows and various stuff like that. So yeah, I will be back Monday. Let's see, Sunday. Who is it might be, I don't know if it could be me for all I know. Let's see. No, it's Sidetrack Sunday will be John and Schuylkill River Valley this weekend. I'll be the following weekend. The following weekend, I'll announce the holiday giveaway. What we're gonna do, we'll figure it out a little bit more. What's going on? And go ahead, Steve.
I never got a chance to ask Steve Childers this question right quick, but I'm going to ask him. Did you see the Tangent Scale Models Burlington boxcar, the green car?
Green box car?
Yes, sir. It's got Burlington on the side of it.
I have not seen the Tangent one, no. I've got a old blue box one back here.
So Norman Rose trying to get everyone to gang up on me. So before people gang up on me any more than already, we're gonna end this out of here, and everyone have a great holiday weekend. I'll see everybody again Monday.
Can I have a last question?
You can have a last question.
Yeah, what's giving away a door prize, please? I've got a clue what you're talking about.
So a door prize is usually like a like you would enter, you'd put a ticket in, or you'd enter your name in a contest, and then
like a lottery.
And then they'll pull your name out of a bucket or something.
Oh right, okay. We just call it a draw. I think we call it a draw.
It's a drawing.
Yeah, draw. No, draw, not drawing. Draw.
Drawing.
A draw.
Drawing.
A draw. Yeah, you're entered into a draw. It doesn't have to be a draw. It can be, as you say, a bucket or whatever. And you.
I don't know what English. I don't know what English you speak over there, Robert.
We speak the proper English. You lot over there that have changed it somewhat.
Have a
think
good
you'd agree.
weekend, everybody.
You gotta take care. Have a good.
Bye, everybody.
Reminds me
Really
that
good, this. Really enjoyed it. Well done.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. About hu- It's all about humanity. About humanity. About hu- It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity.